Hey, I think we're going. Hey, Michael. And Rastibor. We also saw, I do not remember what, something AU Games or whatever. Thanks for the follow a little bit ago there, if you're still on there. I am trying to get my act together today. It is chilly for Southern California. Let's see what it says here. It's 50. It's still a little cold for us. We had a busy, I actually tried to take it easy this weekend and was working on some other little fun things. Not out here, which was good. I actually was painting a little bit in the house. These are stuff for other people that I'm working on, which is cool. And I'm been busy. We had lots of little things going on for the end of the year, and so I've been trying to get all that done. And put our live schedule. So at boardgamegeek.com/live is you can watch this stream there, although you know it's probably a little better here because you can easily chat, although the chat is there. But the good thing about that page is we have a bunch of our friends. I mean, there's can be more. It's definitely work. I plugged it all in, and it's the 13th, right? So, or 14th today. So I'm a little behind on the schedule. 13th. I had put some in already, but there've been some updates, and Derek is doing. So he was doing the exact same exit the game advent calendar, the mystery of the ice cave. He was doing the same one, and he was doing to get ahead of us because he's helping edit some of them. I did the last 4, something like that, or 5. But so he was doing 2 a day to get ahead of us so that he wouldn't be spoiling any for himself. And now he's doing the Golden Book, the Search for the Golden Book or something like that, which is the next one that came out last year. Hey, Chad. So the interesting thing is you know, I would love to play the new one, but we'll save it for next year if we get the chance to do it. We don't have access to it anyway. It's sold out all over the place unless you want to pay big money. But Derek said he found it in a local store, like 3 or 4 copies. So he ordered one online, and then he also got one from. Hey, we're having glitches here. Is it having problems for you guys as well? Chroma's picking up your hair. Is there any kind of weird? I mean, I'm seeing glitches on the machine here. I'm not really sure what's going on. Let me know if you see anything, because I can stop the stream and start the stream. I'm not sure. Derek came in here and fixed it one time. He's actually going to probably come on at some point to try to... he wants to work on the vMix machine today, if his plans, I guess, still hold up for that. But I'm not going to be on here too long so that he can get up on it. Just the camera overlay. Oh, you know what? That's got to be what it is. I don't know how that actually works here. Let's just see if I can do that. The problem is, I think what happens is it also... Oh, you know what it is? I know what you're talking about. Yes, I get it. Overlay. That might be what's giving us a glitch, too. I never get this right. It doesn't remember it. It's number 3. Wait, didn't go there. Might be Scott telling me what's going on. There we go. That should have done it. I never remember. And we don't have to worry it except when we're streaming. There we go. Oh, thanks, Chad. Yeah, I got it. I think so anyway. Yeah, I don't think that's Chrome. I think that's the focus, right? So you're probably seeing all that stuff. But yeah, we actually kind of took it easy this weekend. It was great. We finished Andor, which I won't talk about, but that was fun, interesting, and we're preparing to film with Aaron. It'll probably be the last, if we're unfortunate, I suppose. If probably the last time we film for this year. We have the remaining. Remaining Exit the Game advent calendars to open with him. We're trying to, what my hope was is to have everybody do 5 or 6 with us. and Rusty could not. He has not been able to come. He's taking care of his dad, and that's actually been a challenge. So we really want to see him, but so then I thought we would do it with Deborah and Gabby when they were here, and that would have been fun. I would have loved that, but we just went long filming, and so we ended up just doing 2 batches with Dave, which was great, and then we'll do the remaining with Aaron. We had a problem though, so we had that film crew here with us. Doing a German documentary, and everything from, so we did 2 with them, then went into the house, and they interviewed us out there, and in here too. We were walking around and doing stuff in here, and then came back out, and we had not turned anything off, and, oh, thanks for watching, Michael. Cameras 1 and 2, which are the people, are out of focus entirely. So you're going to get the next 5 or whatever it is blurry, which is a complete frustration. We use tablets to monitor those cameras, and I don't know. We had so many problems that day, and I honestly feel it was a combination. I think they must have gone out of focus with the tablets, because I don't understand how that. I mean, we lose the tablets all the time, and we don't necessarily lose focus, but we have had it happen on my side once or twice, or more than that, I'm sure. There's a couple of episodes. There was one with Tim Schafer, 2 episodes with Tim Schafer. Our side of the table was out of focus, but you need it to see. Like you saw the blue sparkles probably on that. That was on. We see that on our tablets as well. That we're using one of these cameras. This is one of those 2 cameras, and I don't know how it loses the focus. Like we didn't touch any of the physical. Now you can. There's a way to focus on these cameras. You hit the AF button, and it'll automatically focus on a. We don't have it do autofocus. We have it do basically the average between the 2 people on the one side of the table, and I don't really know what. Hey, thanks for checking it out. Ta-da for real. We've been streaming since before the pandemic, but we really picked it up during the pandemic. So I'm not really sure what happened there, but it's fine. I mean, it's a few episodes. I was saying at the time when I was looking at the footage, like I noticed I thought, because we'd focused it earlier, and when it was done, I still looked out of focus, and I said, I'm just a blurry person. So then we did it again. We just looked at it, because mine was the only tablet that was kind of hanging on, and I held up something to show that it was in focus, and it was sharp on that. So it must have changed the depth of field, but I'm out of focus. Both sides are out of focus. I was like, as long as I was out of focus, it wasn't such a big deal. When Dave and Nikki were, I was like, ugh. And usually we would reshoot something like that, but we can't. Number 1, we can't redo those puzzles, and number 2, we've changed things in the puzzles. So there is no going back. We only have 1 copy of it. But yeah, I think that because we had so much gear in here, we had not only our equipment, we had their wireless equipment, and it was only 2 guys, but they had a lot of stuff, and we all were mic'd. They only had 2 packs, so Dave and I were mic'd. I don't know why they should have mic'd Nikki, but they had also a boom microphone, and that was I don't know if that was wirelessly connected. They were recording that. It was probably synchronized, though. They were running some sort of synchronization, like SMPTE or something like that. So I didn't get a chance to really ask them in the video and say you're trapped in a snowstorm. That's a good call, Michael. Maybe we'll do that. It's pretty bad. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh. And, because mine was the problem. And then I'm like, well, at least Nikki and Dave will be fine. And then I get to their side, and it was out of focus. I could not figure out what had happened. It just doesn't make any sense. But regardless, we'll wrap it up with a bunch of in focus Aaron and Nikki and myself ones. I didn't paint any minis. I did paint, as I said, some stuff this weekend, and it'll be a surprise for some people. I might have mentioned it on the stream. Actually, no, I think I mentioned it when we were filming the game. So I'm hoping to get that all done before I send them off for Christmas. I've been so kind of lax as far as wrapping gifts and things like that. I need to get on it. I mean, it's still 11, 12 days away, but I'm not. 12 days of Christmas, the next 12. But yeah, Derek started his. He did a Carcassonne Winter Edition today, and then tomorrow he's going to do the Search for the Golden Book. So I don't want to spoil it for myself, so I'm not going to look at those. But I did watch him the other day with his wife, and it was great. They were doing the first one that'll be tomorrow. They were doing, when I watched, they were doing the one that we will do tomorrow. And I had already done it, so I wasn't spoiling anything. So I'm almost done. Let me switch here. I'm almost done with the Warhammer Quest Lost Ruins, Relics, Ruins, Relics, they all get me. Deborah's show really gets me. And they're pretty close. I did a little bit of tufts of grass on this one since this is a standard base instead of the nice molded bases that they do for Warhammer. For like the, it's funny, they do these for the starting, like, it's weird though because I don't feel that Warhammer Underworld is a basic game. It is sort of, right? It's not that hard. But they do these really great molded bases. I mean, I've got these orcs here that I've still got to paint. But they have, you know, dirt and rocks, things, you know, that you could do yourself. It's funny that they have these on such basic ones because they have some phenomenal bases. For some, this got a rock under his feet. I'm looking forward to painting these. I actually think I need to, I was thinking about continuing with these today, but I think I have to prime them a little bit more before I do it. This was an early airbrush zenithal highlight that I did a while back. But I mean, you can see it'll look pretty good. The cape looks great. You know, the shading from the sun, right? But I really like those bases, and this one just was not. I don't know. This one I think was from a like a free miniature in a getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and I think I had a Space Marine. It's probably sitting over here somewhere from the 40K one. And I always buy those magazines for the photos. So I haven't bought the White Dwarf in a while. I was buying them pretty regularly there, and then I got burned out on the expense of their stuff. But they actually, I mean, everything's gone up, but they have, I like the Warhammer Underworld stuff because you can, I mean, these might actually be Warhammer Underworlds minis. They have, you know, really cool, every element about it. It's very simple. There's not, it is a little bit tough to get all the trim spots. I think I had missed like here. It looks okay. Because, you know, you trim it off the sprue and then you clean it up. But what's really amazing is they are push fit. You don't have to glue them. I mean, I'm the kind of person that will glue them, but you actually have to do a little bit of work to them before you glue them because they're very well engineered to just push them together and they stay. I think it's, I really love that kind of thing, that it can get people into the hobby and have these super dynamic miniatures. That's the one thing I would say that is a little disappointing from like when I used to do this stuff was you would you could dynamically pose them. A lot of the times the arms and there was a ball joint between the legs and the torso and the arms, so you could really get dynamic poses, but I never feel like I had any dynamic poses like these. So I'm pretty satisfied with the way they do this stuff, and these are really great. This is, I believe this game is available like at Barnes and Noble, and for us, as I said, I have quite a bit of Warhammer Quest that I've not even opened, I think, for the most part. Let me look here. I have the Cursed City one that I think that's back and available. They're doing like print on demands for that. But I got Adam Smasher got that for me when it was sold out instantaneously. But the one that I wish I had got, yeah, I opened up Blackstone Fortress. But I wish I had done more on that one, and I wish I had bought more on that one. I think that was basically at my burnout point where I just couldn't afford to just keep buying them all. And you know, if I'm not going to play them, I don't necessarily need them. I buy these specifically because they're games as themselves. And that's what I love about Warhammer Underworlds as well, because you're buying like 5 units, and they are they're really nice units. It's a manageable thing, and the game's actually fun and simple. It's not. I haven't played Kill Team, which I do have a copy of the first set of Kill Team, but I want to play that too. I'd like to try the new ones too, but again, there's so many faction upgrades and box sets, and I love the terrain and all that Kill Team stuff, and I haven't bought. I think the last bit of stuff I bought was some. Maybe Blackstone Fortress, and, well, actually I think Sisters of Battle stuff came out after that. That's like one of my favorite armies, and I have a bunch of older Sisters of Battle stuff. Oh, I also bought Black Templar, which was not a great box, but I was very excited to have a bunch of plastic Black Templar stuff. I was very excited for a bunch of the Sister stuff, so I'm hoping to paint some of that stuff too. I think I bought one of the minis. They had like a special limited edition. So I mean, I'm not completely against buying all that stuff. Truth Seekers, okay, well, is that the name for them? I mean, I know they're Stormcast Eternals, I guess is what they are, but I don't know. I think that, thanks for the compliment. I've been trying to paint everything as simply as possible. I am using the Contrast Paints. GW sent me this game plus 2 others. One is the combat game, combat something arena, and then the other one is not Blood Bowl but Blitz Bowl, I guess. And then they sent me paints. They wanted us to do them on the show. And we're gonna play this on the show, and so I was trying to do everything as simply as possible so people would be encouraged to do the same thing. I am using metallics, which is sort of contrary to my strategy on painting these. Here's my very first contrast painted miniature. When they debuted them, we went to the store, Scott and I bought it all because I wanted him to get into painting this stuff. He actually has gotten into painting. He hasn't been doing it lately. But I was just showing him how simple, I mean, because I understood the concept of this stuff, and I painted this one like in an hour and a half. I did come home and I worked on the sword a little bit because I kind of did a wet blending thing on it. And I was impressed. I feel this is a great way to get your miniatures on the on the table and encourage you to get started. I know so many people that have unpainted minis in tons of games, myself included, and going where I go from, I keep showing this one mini, but this is like the last serious painting I was doing. I was painting I did a whole set of Space Hulk for the BGG library, and then started painting these. Now, this is a different technique. This was primed black, and then it's using opaque paints generally. And I did some, kind of glazing where you add brighter and brighter washes over it with your paint. This is prior. I think I was using contrast. No, not contrast medium. I was using some sort of medium, but that was thinned out as well. I used flow improver, Winsor Newton acrylic flow improver, to help have it thin out the paint and go on thinner, and water. And so, this was a lot of work. Now, I mean, this is an intricate miniature, and it's not the greatest paint job ever, but it has a lot of little elements. And I went crazy on the gems and the purity seals, and it was cool. I love doing this stuff. I will continue to do these kinds of jobs, but I would rather have all of these painted and able to play it. I have not played this game in ages, more than 10 years, and I probably painted this 11 years ago, because I did the first ones, then I painted the Gene Stealers with Scott and we did those very quickly, and then he gave me a copy of the game because he was like, it'd be great to have a painted one in the library. I'm like, okay. And so I finished the Space Marines, and then brought the Gene Stealers, and we painted those, which are amazing too. They're really, really great. I actually I had an extra copy that I bought after I got that copy from Scott that I gave to Annie and Sebastian because they couldn't get it. Now, knowing Sebastian now, I just needed to give him a little bit of time because he is very good at finding good deals on that stuff. But he painted his, and I actually wanted to take pictures of all that stuff, and I did not. But I need to because, goodness gracious, they're great. I did paint these with him when I was in Germany. This was kind of I feel like this is 2019, but I guess it was probably 2018. These are one of the Warhammer Underworlds ones, and the Wraith Queen or something like that. And this was using this paint, I believe, which was sort of like this is now part of the this color is now part of the contrast paints line. I actually have it. Let's see if I actually have it in the set. I mean, because I have it actually in the colors. And that was my first use of that stuff. Night Haunt Gloom, is that what it's called? Sure is. And here's the new one. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it's close as far as color-wise. I mean, they're marketing it as the same, but they might have changed the formulation a little bit to be more contrasty. But I think that these ones were sort of their first contrast paints. It's fun. I love painting these, and I had a great time with this because Nikki, I actually painted these for Nikki. So I've done a lot of Stormcast Eternals because I have other ones in the house that are painted, and I did these. There's not as many Stormcast Eternals, but there's a lot more of the Night Haunt. And so, but yeah, see, here's an example. Look at that base. It's got skulls and bones and this ivy, which seems to be very dark now. It didn't seem to be that dark when I painted it. But yeah, that was cool. I mean, it wasn't that hard to do, and it went relatively quickly. Again, it's a lot of white, white is not my favorite stuff. I see the computer flashing over here. I hope it's okay, because it's flashing the overlay of the starting soon, which it shouldn't be anyway. So yeah, these are great. I want to finish these off. I'd still like to do Warhammer Underworlds on the show, but I would have to probably get one of the newer ones, which I don't have, if I want people to be able to buy it. I think my most recent one is Beastgrave, and they've got 3 more sets. I can't even believe it, how many sets they do. One every year, I guess, plus Associated Miniatures. I was buying all of them for a while. That was really where I burned out, because it was just so many. That was really where I burned out. I was, I'd spend $150 buying a bunch of minis, and you don't need them all. You don't really need them all. You just need to buy what you're interested in and play the game. And then if you're having fun, buy some more. And the best way to get started with that is just buy the main box, and then keep adding to it. So let's finish this up. I did these like leaves or dirt or whatever's going on down here on the base. I mean, I don't feel that they're truly leaves, because if you look at this base, there are leaves on the bottom here, which I was painting, in multiple colors and stuff like that. Is it going to focus? Focus on his head. Let's go right here. Yeah, there you go. You can see it. And I love all that kind of detail. There's fungus on this tree down here, and it's fantastic. So I want to finish these two. I mean, I was thinking about actually coming and painting some of these stones like different shades of the gray and then modeling it a little bit, making it look a little bit more natural. But you don't really need to. This is just me being ridiculous. So what I'm going to do today is I will finish painting the edges here of this, whatever material it is, dirt, or moss. It kind of looks like it. I mean, I've been painting it so it's sort of like moss. And then I'll probably move on to get back to some. I may end up getting it together to actually continue with these orcs from Warhammer Underworlds. I would like to. So let's see, I was using this paint, which I really like, but I thin it out. I migrated to the Underworlds teams to play in Bladeborn. Nice. I didn't know that I knew that they did Warcry. I didn't know, why are they doing Bladeborn? What is is that like a specific, just a single like Warcry starter set? Interesting, yeah. I mean, that's another thing I actually really like about all these systems now, where they're developing new games with the same miniatures, so they can be used. So you could start with a kill team and migrate all those to standard Warhammer 40K, or go the other way. I think it's great. I mean, I know that a lot of people get upset with some of the stuff that GW does, but they make great stuff, and their games are fun. I really like their games. I have a tablet here on top of this, which I need to move. Cursed tablet. Let's see how my wet palette looks. It's been a few days since I've been out here. Oh, it is a Barnes & Noble game. Okay, there you go. Hey, thanks for the follow, Talton. I'm working on finishing up the Warhammer Quest Lost Relics minis that were in this little box. I actually love the little Barnes & Noble things. They were doing some of that at Target as well. I wish they would continue with that, because it would be great to have all of that available to folks. I mean, we don't have a GW store anymore nearby. We have one within about 30 minutes. We used to have one very close, and I was going there through the pandemic, and it folded. They closed it up not too long. I think it was earlier this year, to be honest with you. It could have been last year, but it was a bummer, because I really liked having just a source, because I actually use I use the contrast paints all the time, and I liked having a local store that would actually have it. My problem was I would go, I mean, I haven't actually bought any second bottles of the paint except for the Iandon Yellow and the Basilicanum Gray. And I haven't needed to buy them. I spilled them, so I had to buy them. I have not used a single bottle of contrast paint all the way through yet. But what I've had to get is the contrast medium and additional colors I don't have. And, you know, it was nice having a store that would stock all that. I love the Citadel paint pots that they have now. You know, these are actually great. They are very light. It's not a cup. I mean, it is a cup. But I love these little rills here. It's going to keep going out of focus. That lets you point your brush, you know. Wow, I got a lot of gold paint on my finger already for having not painted anything. And I just think this is a great piece of equipment. I bought it at the store near me. I bought these, which I absolutely need to have because I keep spilling paints. These are from them as well. I've actually 3D printed my own, and these are pretty good too, but I like having 3 bottles like right near me that are not going to fall over. Well, not easily anyway. And then I like this mat. I bought this mat at that store as well. So I like having access to that. The other stores that are near us, near-ish to us, there is a new store that I think has been there for a little more than a year that we've never been to. I didn't even notice it. It's in a mall, a little strip mall down the road that had I believe where they're at is where another store we used to, like a craft store that Nikki and my mom used to go to. They were into stamping 20 years ago, and maybe more, and they would go to that store. And so I was just looking at it as we were going by, and I'm like, hey, a game store. And I looked them up, and they have GW paints, so I'll probably go down there and buy some stuff from them. And games, which is great. So they have standard games. I want to go see what they have. But I really would like to get more into that. Another store locally. The nearest store that we have really, besides that one, which is great because that one's close, is out in Westlake, which is not that far from us, but it is a bit of a ways. And their hours, like we go out that direction to go get groceries and things like that. And we go early, so it's not busy at all, and they're open. You know, the game store opens at about noon. I mean, we've been there early and it's been open. So if we're there long enough, we'll do it. But generally, we're not there that long. So it's a bummer. I would really like to be able to contrast medium. Where is it? I'd really like to go there and get some other brands of paints as well. Contrast medium. What the heck did I do with it? Oh, there it is. I've got everything on racks now. I mean, I got a second set of racks of the for the GW paints, which is going to be more than I'll probably ever need. But I needed to get a set for my any of my Vallejo and Army painter stuff. So I need to put the Vallejo one in the, because I bought another one, larger one too that can fit like the larger bottles from MiG ammo. Is that what it's called? I don't remember the old one. I like that. I mean, I have some of the AK Interactive varnishes, which I love, but I'm trying not to buy their stuff. But yeah, I want to try all the other speed paints. You know, I want to try Vallejo's new ones. I want to try some of the triad stuff that Army Painter has, where they have 3 sets of colors, a light, medium, and a dark, that are all related, so that you can use them comfortably and not have a problem with the color being incorrect. And I believe they're just, I mean, you can use them for whatever, but they're airbrush paints, and I would love to try them out. But I don't want to buy too much. I promised myself I would only really buy paints when I needed them, except I do want to try the Army Painter ones, the speed paints. It was funny, so you know, there's a whole discussion about activation about their paints, which I don't know if is true or not, because I haven't used them. I generally guess that it isn't true-ish. I mean, they sort of do, but you know, I've had plenty of paints reactivate, and it's weird, you know, and a little frustrating to have it happen. But so I still want to try them. They have a bunch of colors that I thought were really great prior to GW putting out the new batch, you know, another 20-some contrast paints, which is great, by the way, because I needed other colors. They have now 3 yellows, and before they had 2 kind of orangey yellows. They have some very bright reds and dark reds, and a ton of blues and greens. I don't feel that we needed more green, but you know, they're mostly, I think, filling like they have one color that's a blue that's basically Space Wolves color, and you know, that's what you want to do. You want to make it easy for people to do this stuff right away and quickly. So I mean, there is nothing wrong with putting more colors out, for sure, of standard colors that people are going to need. So I think it's a great deal. And I really like their paints. They're a little expensive. You can get some deals like from Miniature Market and stuff like that. And some local stores will give you price breaks, which is cool. But here's the thing, they last a long time now. I've been using some of these bottles for 3 years, and I'm not going crazy. I'm not painting massive amounts of armies, but you know, they last a long time. They really do, as long as you're not, you know, you're supposed to slop it on kind of, but I still have controlled slopping. I'm not going to go crazy because I want to be able to manage it. I'm doing a lot more, I mean, you know, I'm using a smaller brush than I normally would do, but first, particularly here, because this is a tight little model, you know, little details. I forgot. I think Christina was going to bring me some paints from their local store. They actually have a local game store very close to them. And I was trying to remember the paint that they bought. They were into a new paint that had done a Kickstarter. And I don't think they're available here. I mean, they could be. at some stores, but not anything close enough to us. She was going to bring some, and they did not end up making it out here. So there you go. That was July. I suppose I should go. I have not been to this local store, either of the local stores. Now, I know the one that's close to us only carries GW. So, and that's a good thing if I need some GW stuff. But I want to try to get a couple of other brands of paints. Although I got to say, I don't know. The one that we have we go to is called Game Ogre. And they don't have that much variety. They have basically Citadel or GW and Army Painter. But that's, do a good job for most people. They might have Vallejo. They do have Vallejo there too. But none of them are like massive collections. I've seen some of the stores, there's much, much more GW stuff than I realized. I mean, I already knew they had airbrush paints. I don't know. I saw like a bunch of them being cleared out in Dallas, so I don't know if they're closing some of that or that store just stopped carrying it. I feel that the airbrush paints, though, are great because they're thin, right? They're already thin. Now, it means maybe you go through the paint a little quicker, but I love the consistency. I use Vallejo's airbrush color metallic ones. I have two. No, I only have one bottle of that. It just says silver. I need a brighter silver. I've been using this from Vallejo, the metal medium, as a silver, and it's pretty great, but I would like to have a true silver, so I need to. That's another reason to go to one of the stores. It's now the time of the year that I don't really want to go shopping because it gets crazy out there. But hopefully we'll get out and do a little bit. We almost did it yesterday. I thought about it for a long minute, and then I decided I wanted to get back to do work because I had so much to do. So let's do this burb. Is it going to fit? Oh yeah, it'll fit. I'm sure I put it on the stand here. Paint handle. Hey, my phone turned off. Why, I don't know. Hey, Flavian. It's weird that I think it's like in some sort of sleep mode here. Phones are buzzing at me. I think this is actually on volume, so let me turn down all of that. We actually had a call early this morning, which was shocking. We actually had a delivery from Amazon the other day. I was asleep, thankfully, but they called at 4:45 in the morning, delivering a gift that I purchased for my mom. I was like, wow. I didn't even realize, or maybe my mom told me she had seen a package that could be delivered between 4 and 8 in the morning. I'm like, that is absolutely not a priority. But crazy with the holiday deliveries. I mean, you can see this is just a first coat to get a color down for this. But you can see it goes on quickly. I mean, I did this tree stump very quickly. It was, I used the Wildwood contrast paint, then I dry brushed on it, and then I put Gore Grunta fur on top of it. And I think I don't know if you can really see it here in the reel. It looks great. It looks really nice. I might actually do a little bit more dry brushing and stuff like that. But I just did a little bit of dry brushing just to give that highlight of those edges, and then I dropped the other color on it. And I think it looks pretty great for, that was probably 15 minutes total, 20 minutes, including dry time. Things dry very quickly here. But I feel that it's not hard to do. You make a little investment and do a little bit of time and just, you know, it's expensive, but don't get trapped into the idea that you have to buy sable brushes. I have sable brushes. I almost never use them. I really like the golden Taklon brushes. And I have these here that I purchased on Amazon, on eBay. Zem, golden Taklon. And these are 4s. I like 3s and 4s. I like 2, 3, 4s, and I have even 6s. And the great thing is when they're wet, you know, the point, let me see if I can get the point to look correct here. I mean, you can see when it's wet and it's wet with paint, there's a very sharp point. So if you're delicate with these, you have to be delicate with any brushes because you don't want to develop a hook. And I'm very quickly developing hooks on some of these, poking the brush into areas. So you need to switch between brushes. But you could paint a lot of detail, and this will hold a lot of paint. So you know, these were like not very expensive. I had seen they were recommended on some maybe Reddit or something like that. And so I just went and tried them out, and they've been great, and they weren't expensive. I probably got like 5 or 6 brushes for $12 to $15, I don't know. And they're great. You know, they work well. They've been going just fine. I have a lot of them. I also bought some from Dick Blick. They're the blue ones. I don't see them. Oh, they're up there. Those are larger ones. I think those are basically the size like the 6. Because I think I bought those first and then bought these, if that's correct. As a matter of fact, I think that was the Dick Blick ones were because of Adam Smasher and Sam Lenz were talking about just using, and I'm like, well, I already used golden Taklon. Let me try going to a larger brush. I am very much a 2, a double aught, an aught, and a 2 painter in history. And I do that some still, of course. I mean, this double aught is good to get in and do. Like, I still haven't done the eyes on this, which I need to do. Let me try to do that right now. I mean, you know, you don't really need to do. It's the one thing that you'll mess up mostly, I think, with painting is eyes. But let me see what I should do here. I brought the white back out, I think. Yeah, I was using that in the house. But yeah, I mean, I think that this was very quick. The only issue was that it took me a little bit of time to build up the color on the wing, on the feathers. I just wanted to have it a little bit more transition, and I'm basically following the style, the paint. You know, this is the rules here, and here's the bird, right? It's very similar to that. Although I noticed there's blue in his head. Hey, did you see me? I almost tried to zoom it with my fingers. So I probably should put a little blue on his head. But yeah, see, those eyes are dark, so they looks like you know, people can do it. I am not one of those that does it very well on the tiny minis. I do okay on the stuff from the Marvel United. You know, I mean, look at, well, he doesn't have eyes. I mean, he does, but they're behind glasses. But yeah, these are giant. You see, I probably have one here that's got some decent eyes. And you know, those are, I love it because I can actually do the eyes and not feel bad. I mean, these look great. I love her eyes. Squirrel girl. So, you know, it's fun to change it up size, you know, with the scale of the miniatures. So, and these are crazy. I was trying to do her eyes, and they're so tiny. They just end up being little dots. See if it did his. See, his don't have, it looks like I painted white, but no pupils or irises. And then I just did a black wash here. But, you know, I don't feel that people are going to look at that. This is just to get it to the table, and they look really good, and they'll be fun to play. Okay, so maybe I'll do the black, let's see, and put a little dot of brightness on it, you know, like a reflection. I do want to order some more stuff from Monument. They actually seem to have, I actually, what I really like of theirs is the transparent paints, which have some fun uses as well. And I would like to get those more the colors. I have red, yellow. I don't think I have orange or brown, or maybe I have brown. Transparent brown I do have. Purple, which I've used purple a lot. Blue and green. And I like them a lot, and I would like to get more of them to try them out. There's not many more. There's a transparent white, which I'd like to see what that is. That might be helpful, actually. You know what? I need glasses that let me see that. Magnifiers. So one thing you can do before you do any of this kind of stuff is, if you're doing something very detailed, you could put a bit of varnish over it, like a matte varnish or a satin varnish. And then, you know, something like this, it would actually be appropriate for an eye. And then you can paint it, and if you make a mistake, it cleans off very easily when it has the varnish. I don't do that too often, and I probably should. It's kind of sloppy, but what I'm hoping to do is put a little bit of I guess I did do sort of the blue on there. It's just not strong enough. That one is a little wide, but I'll put a dot on it. And again, what am I worried about? Nobody's going to look at that. But I would like to try to do a little white dot. He says after just putting a little black dot, so we'll see. I have frustration with white, but I will say I do like this white from Monument, the Pro Acryl. Pretty good. It's not terribly expensive, and it does a pretty good job. So that is a tiny brush, but is there a tinier brush that I could do this with? That wasn't too terrible. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little dot there. It's not bad. This one's a little bolder, but it makes it look dimensional. So that'll be perfectly fine. I cannot believe I did that. I've had such a hard time painting eyes on the stream. I will invariably mess it up. It's a little bolder on that one, but I am not going to. I find that when I go back in and try to do that, I only cause more of a mess. So I think I'll do a little bit more of the blue. Tried Wandering Towers last weekend. Easy to explain thanks to the GameNight video. Oh, awesome. We really like that game. And I was surprised. So Gabby, who was on that show, is kind of a heavier gamer. And a lot of that's just her exposure. Her friends that she games with really love playing Vital Lacerda games. And so I was wondering, and she really loved the game, and I was just, I was wondering if it was going to click for her, but it very much did, and it was fun, and Deborah loved it. And which was cool. We filmed another game that day. I'm looking forward to having come out. We'll probably get that together soon. Maybe be the end of the year video. We'll see. I don't want to kill Derek. I want to try to, because it's a long video. Yeah, you see, that's just a, and this was actually a contrast paint that's been sitting on the palette. So I was able to get it to, and it's a gel now, essentially. That's the problem. But it's good enough for what I'm trying to do here. I'm not actually trying to hope it will settle in on anything. I just wanted to color that, the bird's head. But that's cool. Looks pretty good. So now I'll put a little bit of brown on the leaves. And I am not sure, or whatever this down here is. I did a little bit of it here, and you can see, like, this is how green the, what is it, Plague Bearer Flesh? Yeah, which I think is a great color. It's one of my favorite ones in the line. But yeah, that's too bold. So I'll come back and try to do a little bit of brown on it, and let's see what that does. I might have even thinned it out, and I didn't, maybe in the original version, but it's such a strong color. I almost always will use some of the contrast medium to thin out the paints to give me a little bit of flexibility. If I'm not going for like this. This is mostly, like this one here is especially good. It's just mostly the this one color with a little bit of, it's getting dusty sitting out here, with a little bit of the contrast medium to thin it out. I also sprayed, or not sprayed, I used an ultra matte medium on this because I wanted the fabric to look duller. It's got a little bit of sheen to it, which is probably just the nature of either the, I haven't fiddled with it too much, but maybe it might have. This one is not as exciting as far as the folds, but it looks good, and it looks especially good up in here where the fold, you know, where the hood and stuff like go. So you know, something that quick. So here's the deal. When you paint these, you can, you have to kind of manipulate the paint once it's on here to like let it settle and try not to get pooling. You can see right here there was some pooling that I didn't really deal with well, but I painted a thin version of, you know, with the contrast medium on top of it to just blend that in, and it does a good job. You know, I mean, I know that probably on Space Marines it's going to be challenging. That's where you run into issues with really smooth, rounded areas. But I think it's worth trying to do, especially if, you know, it will be as quick as it is, right? Wow, that really looks black now. So this was this same blue. I don't know if you can see it. It was this same blue, but on the gold. I just thought I would try it. It looks kind of neat. I think I'm just going to leave it like that. It almost looks black. Probably do a little bit of gold touch-up on it again. But that's cool. See, this one here was actually a painted one that I had done it, the standard method that I normally paint. But I think I'm going to leave it. Thankfully, this one is concealed by the cape. And then this one is another one I probably should paint. So I will do the same, probably the same thing on that one. So let me do the brown though. I think I was using like snakebite leather. Maybe I just used it straight. It still seems like that's not correct. I generally am a little afraid to go straight on that stuff because it's very strong. Hey David, I find awesome that such old designers find so simple mechanics to give some kind of childish simple things. I mean, I love that game. I think it, you know, they're both great designers, and you know, Michael Kiesling is super busy, still making lots of great games, and Wolfgang Kramer, who we were told by the documentary crew lives in a like a retirement old folks home type of a thing with his wife, and they both still work very hard. You know, he's like nearly 80. Or maybe 80, I don't know. And still doing, you know, making games, which is really awesome. Keeps your brain, you know, I think board games do a pretty good job in helping keep your brain active. but we have that documentary people were asking is coming out supposedly next. They're shooting for next April. I don't know if it's going to be, and it's in German. There was subtitles in the trailer I watched when they were introducing themselves, and I will try to watch it. I mean, my mom was wondering how I was understanding. I'm like, oh, there's subtitles, Mom. I don't. My German is so poor. It's one of the languages I studied in college and high school, but I retained none of it. I didn't use any of that stuff, and I still can understand a little bit of that sometimes watching things, but I really wish that I had been involved in some group out of college that was, speaking, getting together just to speak the language regularly. That would have been cool and helpful. But I did talk to Rusty. He's doing okay. I've told him that we could come over and just hang out with him, because he's helping with his dad, and it keeps him very, very busy, and it's a little bit weighing him down. But I really hoped we could have him for the Christmas stuff, just because it'd be nice for people to see him. People ask about him, and he is just his work is busy, and helping take care of his dad has been busy. I've never really dealt with any of the powders, for to do like wear or dust. I would really like to. I actually purchased some. Hey, we've got a raid. Steph Straw Games. Wow. Thanks, Steph. How you doing? I hope you're having a good holiday season here and keeping busy. Thanks so much for the support. I haven't seen Steph in a long time now. I mean, the pandemic has really done it in for all of us as far as hanging out. Pretty good week, huh? We're doing well. It's cold for us anyway. And it's, Nikki's still got lots to do. I do too. I worked pretty hard. I worked till 12:30 last night. I did part of it and then didn't finish it, so I really should have gotten up and done it earlier. But we're doing good, and it's been great. It's nice to be home for a little while. Though I would love to be in Germany to visit some friends. Actually, I'd like to go anywhere where we have kind of a winter holiday. We have not. The last time we did any kind of travel during the winter, well, I've done Nuremberg, but Nikki and I went to New York Toy Fair, which used to be held in the end of January, which is the worst. And I think they pushed that back now to the summertime or something, which is a good idea, because goodness. But we were there in the snow. It was wonderful. And I kind of miss that, because it's cold here with no snow. And we have had rain, so that's a plus. There you go. That looks better. Ah, you're in Strasbourg, east of Florence. Okay, nice. I'm sure it's colder than it is here. We are in the 40s and 50s, and it'll be up to 60, I believe, today, which is, for us, that's pretty high. I think 10s, in centigrade. But yeah, it's tough. We definitely would like to. I mean, I actually love this type of weather. Fall and winter are my favorite. Well, not my favorite, but I love that time of the year. And I would just like to have a little bit more. We don't get a lot of rain here in the last few. I know we've had good rain, but it's not consistent, and it's not annually getting enough rain. That's why we're having water problems here. But hopefully the rain that we are getting is at least providing some water to the, we got some snow going into the Sierras, which will lead into the Colorado River and stuff like that, which is one of our sources for water. But I know that it's not going to be enough. We're not getting enough rain. We need weeks and weeks of this, and it needs to be several, quite a few years, and it just needs to be regular in general. -3 degrees Celsius. Well, there you go. It was 0 when I was talking to my friend Christoph, who lives in Cologne, and he was telling me how cold it was, and I was like, well, we're not that cold. We're definitely, Nikki grew up in this temperature, so she's, and I mean, essentially I did too. I moved here when I was a preteen, or just a teen, and it was a big change for us because I was from Colorado, so I do miss that stuff. It isn't necessary though. I'm sure it would be rough to be in snow all the time. Okay, -3 degrees Celsius. That is cold, because I think 0 is 0 in both, isn't it? Yes. So that would be terrible. That can't be right, is it? It is. Oh no, 0 is freezing, so it's 32. That's cold though. We can get that cold here, but not that often. Now I'm going to try to use these. You're not supposed to shake them up a lot, but I want to try to do a little bit of, wow, this is very different than these others. This is much brighter. Huh. If you can see here. It doesn't really matter, but it is very bright. I think maybe I didn't. Maybe I did exactly what I'm going to do here, which is put some of the strong tone on it. So let's see if this is mixed up enough. That is. I mean, I was saying how I wanted to try to get some of the colors. I'm resisting doing what I probably would love to do, which is just order the full set, but I really do not need more paint. I have hundreds of bottles of paint. So I think I did this here where I was trying to like give it a little bit of edge going into the, from the, to make it look. The neat thing about this strong tone, and it's similar to the Nuln Oil and the Agrex Earth Shade, which I use all the time. I honestly feel these are basically the same, even color shade. They go on a little bit strong and then they soften up, and so it makes it brings elements together, so that they look more natural. It's not like, I mean, again, this is not necessarily anything that needs to happen. You don't have to do this. I think it's like, slightly next level stuff that you could do, and I think it's worth it. But you should just get your miniatures painted to start, and then come back and maybe do this kind of stuff. I mean, I wouldn't actually necessarily revisit my old minis. I would leave them as is. I actually need to dig through some of the stuff I painted. I have some old Revell sets that I painted when I was young that I would like to see how they look. I know they're not going to look amazing, but they were pretty amazing to me back then, and I know they were decent. So you can see already it's softening that edge between this stuff here and the pavers. So it's a good thing to do this, and it's kind of like black lining it, but you're not. But it helps tie everything together. It's like a good rug, ties the living room together, as the Big Lebowski would say. So I don't mind his foot standing out a little bit more. Hey, you notice I did not do the black on there, or the what I use, which I've been using the Basilicanum Gray. So I'm going to put that, mix that up. You can see here how much pigment is at the bottom. It comes out very dark. I mean, if you look at these boots here, you can see they're, let's get that to focus. You can see they look black, but it's a gray, very dark gray. I really like that paint. It's one of my favorites. Take care, Flavian. Get some, well, it's not that late, is it? No, it's almost, it's 9. Is it 8 hours or it's 9 hours ahead? So it's almost 9 o'clock. Well, have a great day. Keep warm. Do your best. This will take a long time to mix up. That's the thing. I bought this at, I bought a long time ago. These are now popular. I see them. Ninjon has the same one with googly eyes on it. The Lab Genius vortex mixer. You just press down on it. It does the stirring for you. It's in a swirl. It's pretty great, and it really is kind of essential. You can see the color. Like I put agitator balls in there, and they are helping make that little swirl on the bottom. But you really need to mix up the pigment for it to be effective. This is why I have. So I said I bought Basilicanum Gray was one of the ones I bought. The reason is because I spilled it once, and for whatever reason, it was obviously mixed well, but the pigment, it lost the bulk of the contrast element pigments. So I had to buy another one just to get that kind of stuff working. And again, I'm going to use this right now as sort of a black, so I don't really worry about it too much. I think it looks more like a leather to me, but you can see it's kind of gray, dark gray. Yeah, I missed the boots. I was all about the boots. All about the boots. So one of the bands we went to go see this summer with Andy and Sebastian has a new album coming out. Still not out till February, but they put out another single. And it's funny because it was, I'm pretty sure they're in the video, they're referencing a guy named Matthias Rust, who flew, I believe he was underage, maybe 18. Flew to Russia because he was trying to, like, I guess he was feeling like this was prior to the wall going down. But I remembered that, and it's in, they're basically, I think, having one of the guys in the band is sort of like that character, or that guy. And but it's a pretty good song. I do not remember the name of it, but I'm looking forward to them having a new album. It's funny because most of the bands I'm excited about hearing lately are from Europe. And so I haven't spent that much time on, we're Amazon Music subscribers, but trying to find new stuff, you know, that's kind of have to do that because I don't listen to radio anymore. When we have listened to radio, it's terrible here in Los Angeles. I used to like the college station, but it's even not very good now. I think I got some on that stone. Not that it really matters, but I want to get it off. Oh my God. I don't know what's going on here. Derek was saying he saw that I look above my glasses when I'm streaming on the paint stuff. Like, well, these are magnifiers, and then I have decent enough vision that I'm nearsighted, so I can see to make sure like I'm on camera as best I can with the miniature. But I'm talking about getting a new prescription that will, new glasses, well, probably a new prescription too, just to update it, that will let me, I'll have a split focus maybe, or no, maybe I'll just get the one focus. It would be nice to have split focus just so that I could do the other side of the table and then distance, but other side of the table would be great when we're filming. Okay, so I did this one, and you could see it's eased it up on the edge of that, so it looks a little bit more natural. So let me do some more on these others. I probably need to do a good wash on the one, though, because it's too bright. It is too bright, at least in comparison to the others. I don't feel that it's really too bright in general. Well, it is pretty bright. That Plague Bearer flesh is real strong. I think I did this on the others. It's been a little while since I painted the bases. Looks like it's gonna, this is probably what I did, because it really looks like it does on the others. Oh, the band was Daikin, though, the one that I was talking about. I want to go, I would love to see them again. I'm not sure that going to Germany, because they don't tour the US, but they were a fun show. Although I do wish I was able to go with Annie and Sebastian. They went to go see him in, where did they go? But just as the pandemic was hitting, I think they went in March to see them, and so that was their last concert before this summer. And they told me where they went. But I would have liked to have seen that show because they were playing a little more of the new album at the time, which had come out in 2019, and now they have a new record. And so they amazingly enough, they actually played one song from the new record this summer, which was that they had just released. So that was fun. They went to Leipzig. Why couldn't I remember that? That's very clear. I mean, you see I'm doing this edge between the stone and the two pieces of stone, and you kind of need to do all that, right, just to give it, well, again, you don't need to do any of it, but it gives it ties them together. Like this here, these are kind of buckled stones. And, you know, they're going to get dirty just from the daily wind blowing. This looks like a gutter. That's awesome. I didn't notice that the stones were turned in on themselves. That is awesome. That's really cool. See, that's what I love, that element of these minis. I think it's really, really cool. I'm out of that. It's got a little bit of probably crust in the nozzle. I will say what I do love about with the contrast paints, it's revitalized the industry as far as innovating new colors, new systems, new paint stuff. And it's, you know, it's really great to have all these options. I think they've announced additional colors for Vallejo, Army Painter's speed paints as well, coming like a second batch, because they only had 25 when they launched. And as much as I wanted to try a few of their colors, I was a little disappointed, just because I think you need a lot of, I think you need quite a few colors. You know, you need a good range. And I love, like, there's a new black in the contrast paints, and it's pretty good. And it's different. It's shockingly different, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm just trying to give it a little bit, you know, and it's very abrupt change, right? So this tree coming out of the stone here, sidewalk. It's better, but it still looks kind of green. Hasn't completely dried, but okay. And then this one, it's close already. I think I'd already done some of this. That looks cool. So I was going to do the shoulder, which I'll do that now. And then that'll kind of be it. A little bit of gold. I have this Rinsewell, I think I talked about last week, thing from Masterson. It was something that Brittany Bowe had mentioned at one point, and I was like, I bought these things and I love it. It is so great because I can keep rinsing out the brushes and I don't let it get to, the water get too, mixed up with other color. Whenever I use a red, it gets so dominant in the water. So I love that I can actually, the red and the blues are real strong. And I love it that I can actually rinse, you press a little button and it has the little bowl, water goes down in it. It's very solid. Like, it does a great job of quickly changing the water. So this is going to take a couple coats. Because it's almost a black. It's a very blue-black when it's done, because I think of the gold or the yellow essentially underneath. But yeah, I do follow the GW color palette essentially style that they do, because I look at the photos, and the reason it's the same thing I'm doing with the Marvel United. I don't want to spend the time at this point thinking about, I mean, I've done it many times when I painted stuff. I'll do my own, faction or whatever, and it's fun. It's fun to do that, but I just want to get these ready to roll, and so if I spend time thinking about that and being frustrated with the color pairings or whatever, there's a lot of ways to think about that stuff as far as color theory goes. And you can think about that. I mean, Nikki and I both went to art school, and you can spend a lot of time thinking about it, and essentially too much time. Unless, you're building a giant army. That's a good case if you want to do your own chapter. Then that's cool. I mean, it's a good and it's a fun idea to do it. Then it's yours. But when it's a game like this, I think when I did these in the gold, Sebastian did his Stormcast Eternals with silver armor, which is cool. It looked different. We were both doing something different at the same time. And of course, he's a much better and quicker painter than I am. But it was awesome to get the inspiration of what he was doing at the same time. Look at that shoulder now here and see if there's anything that needs to happen to it. Other than the gold, and I'll probably do that right now. Let this dry. You can see already it's pretty dark. I do like that color too, the blue-green. There's one in here, Kellyan green. Yeah, that's a Kellyan green that's kind of a blue, and it's sort of like this color. Let's see, what is David saying here? Used it from day one and lost all my playlists because I don't want or need their unlimited paywall. I mean, I don't mind Amazon, but I don't generally use it. I mostly I have Plex, and I buy CDs still because I'm that person. And I've started ripping all of my stuff in 2000. 2001, my dad passed away in 2001. I was just getting started. Like I love, one of my favorite bands is XTC, and I was ripping all their stuff because they had just released, re-released all those CDs, I think in Japan, with the really cool little LP sleeve and the OB strip and all that stuff. And I think I was buying, wow, where did I buy that from? I mean, I know there was internet purchases. Maybe I got it on Amazon. Seems a little early. I mean, I know I was using Amazon. I've been using Amazon for 24 years, but still seems a little early for the foreign releases. But anyway, as they were coming out, I was getting them. I think I was ordering from Amazon UK, though, not too much later than that, because Depeche Mode actually had a bunch of their stuff come out in the U.S. and in Germany. And the U.S. ones were on DVD, and they had surround sound mixes. But the European releases, the British releases, were Super Audio CDs, and that's what I wanted. And that was mid 2000s, 2007, I think. So it was a little later. But I was definitely ordering those as those were released from the UK. But I ripped my own stuff, and then I used Plex as my streaming service, because it's just my music, which, I mean, we have lots and lots of CDs. That's Nikki and I both used to work at a record store. It would become painfully obvious to you if you walked into our house and saw all the CDs. And that's not even all of them. That's just basically all the pop CDs, you know, the rock and stuff like that. There's still classical and soundtracks. And I still rip everything as I get it in and put it on the Plex server. And it works really solidly. Hey, Time Roller. It works very, very solidly. Like, it's very quick, provided my Synology Plex server stays up. And I think we've been having problems with that, not because of the Synology, but because our cable modem, it's not cable, but it's the power drops and it resets the IP addresses. Even though I'm using what the machine recommended, when it comes back up, it's like, oh, we've changed it so that it doesn't have any conflicts. I'm like, I'm using the one that you did the last time. There's no way to like solidly make that stay. So I just keep, what happens is when it drops, I will go back in and just reassign that fixed IP, and then everything else will populate. And it takes, one time we were trying to film with, and Scott was going to call in and watch, and we were with Dave, and I spent a while trying to get it back up. And that's just frustrating. It's so stupid. So I need to figure that out to improve that, because I really like, the Plex server is super fast. I mean, you know, music's tiny, ultimately, and it very quickly responds when I'm remote, and it's really, really nice. So there you can see that dried a little bit. It's okay. It looks a little splotchy where I put it around the trunk. But it's visually a little bit easier on the eyes because they are joined together because of that. I wonder if I really should, since it's kind of this gutter, if I should put, like, thinking about like putting more in the center, like from dirt that has settled from rinsing through on this gutter. I do not know if I need to worry about that. These are great though. I really love the bases. Okay. What is next? Oh, I was going to do the gold. I cleaned up the gold here. That's why it's on my fingers. I think I'll just use the rich gold. The Pro Acro gold. Very nice. I'll tell you another great thing about going to see concerts in Germany. They were a lot cheaper than they are here. We would see Kraftwerk, and that was like 50 euros. Tickets were, I think both shows, the tickets were 50 euros. Here they would be much, much, I mean, Daikin wouldn't do anything here, but Kraftwerk, when they do, it's very expensive. Nowadays, it's so expensive to go see concerts. And, you know, I like going, but it's not. We've had the very, very fortunate treat of the last few concerts we've seen were a friend, Chris Zeffro from Trick or Treat Studios, was when we were at Gen Con in 2021. Why am I thinking we were definitely not at Gen Con 2020? I went to go see Rob Zombie because he was in town and Chris knows him and works with him on stuff. And so we just went. It was like a spur of the moment thing, and it was great. I had never seen Rob Zombie, and I have friends that have worked with him, so that was fun. They actually have a game that they're doing with him. It's House of a Thousand Corpses, I believe, which is cool. I don't think Rob's designing anything on it. Something is buzzing over here, and my phone is not over there. Must be the computer? Who knows? That looks cool. It's a little bit too much, but Nikki, how's it going? What? Okie dokie. What time is it? 12. Well, I got a little bit more to do. Let's see here, what's next? I can put another coat on here. This music really sounds like Mannheim Steamroller. I only think of Mannheim Steamroller when it's Christmas Stormbright. Yeah, it's cool. They're turning out. This is from the Warhammer Quest Lost Relics minis. So I'm kind of doing a mix of the contrast paints and the silver. The cape turned out pretty great from the contrast paint. How's everything going, Adam? But yeah, they're cool. They'll be fun. I need to do a little bit more touch up on things, but they're pretty much done for the game. It'll be fun. So let's see here. Put a little bit more of this blue on this shoulder pad. Your ears must have been burning, Adam. I was talking about your brush advice, because I have always been a synthetic brush guy, even though I have sable brushes. But the big change was going to larger brushes that you and Sam had on one of your videos. Although I am using a tiny brush right now. Like big brushes. No kidding. I feel your pain though. The next series of our Advent calendar videos all are out of focus, and it's weird because both cameras went out of focus, and we do not know what happened. We did have a documentary crew here with a bunch of wireless gear. I don't know. because we went into the house, we didn't shut anything down, came back out, and should have just been able to continue. We've done it many, many times, and both cameras are out of focus. The down cameras aren't. They're perfectly fine, but man, what a bummer. Somebody was saying we should do snow on it, which at Michael, which I agree, probably should do snow overlay. That'd be fun, actually. But yeah, I actually, the latest brushes I had purchased, which was before Adam has his Tabletop Minions ones, is the Monument brushes. They're great. I'm using this 3, which is fantastic. And I feel, you know, their prices aren't too bad, especially for the synthetics. And they're reliable, especially because I basically, my methodology now is I have like semi-lower grade brushes as my the beaters that you kind of poke into the do coverage like inside of the model, because that's what gives you a little hook, and then you switch to the finer ones to do your details. And I'm not poking the brushes as much when I do that. Mostly I'm kind of doing it like gliding on the edge of the bristle or something, you know, edge of the brush itself on the bristles. But it's pretty great. These will look fun. What did I get on there? I guess it was a piece of dust or something. See, the eye looks pretty good. Now I will probably put a bit of gloss, tiny bit of gloss on there, because that is just who I am. But it's not necessary. So I think that's just about it. I will paint the edges. I guess I could do that now as well. The problem is this is, I do have sandpaper. They don't go out of focus as easily. Yeah, I mean, we don't actually run it as autofocus, right? We do fixed focus. It's really a bummer. Especially because I was like frustrated. I saw my camera angle was the first one, and I'm like, oh, it's out of focus, bummer. I go, at least the other side will be fine. Nope, it was bad too. So I don't understand what happened. I've never had that problem. And you know, we do use tablets to control them, so that could be part of the issue. I mean, I think it is, to be truthful with you, because why else would it go out of focus? And the tablets, the other issue is that we use the tablets to just monitor it. You can see whether it's in focus, and it's not doing a good job. Like, I can't, when it's not staying connected, because we have Sony cameras. Oh no, Panasonic. We do have Sony as well, but those cameras are Panasonic. And it's a bummer, real bummer. What they need is that plugin that'll focus this in. Come on, Photoshop, get that together, or Adobe. I mean, they actually have that you can do for images, kind of a focus feature. That'd be cool. Do it on film. It's okay though. It's only 5 of the Christmas Advent openings, so, or 6 actually, I think. Okay, so black, I will use the Pro Acryl. This is the one Adam does, where he uses a contrast black over the black. It's actually pretty great. I'm not even sure why it works so well, but it does even out the paint when you're doing the edge of the base. I've always been a black edge of the base guy, and that must be just because of the era of when I was doing GW stuff. Okay, this is a bigger brush job here. They were using a Blackmagic camera, which Adam has several of those. It was I'd never actually seen one in real life. And it was much bigger than I thought they were running. You know, I was like, wow, that is pretty massive. It's not gigantic, but it's much bigger than our SLRs, DSLRs. Ugh, this thing. Smooths out stuff really well. Oh yeah, it's weird. It's a weird effect, and it actually does a good job quickly. So I'm going to probably, hope, I talked with the publisher, they're going to send us the miniatures, but I'm going to paint the minis for Flamecraft, which are these super cute chibi designs. Really, really cute. All the art is very, what was her name? Tang? She's really, really great artist. And I guess these are like her sketches. They're not her real, her final art. It was, the game designer was inspired by the art, her sketches to do this game. It's basically you go and you fulfill orders kind of a thing. But we want to do it on the show. It was really fun. We had fun with, I think Nikki won that game when we played. It was pretty great. Maybe Scott. Scott might have a pretty strong final round there. But the minis are great. He had them, and they're just the colors. So I'm going to paint them, and I'm going to try to keep the colors. We'll see how that goes. I will do the zenithal highlighting and all that, but it's going to be a little bit brighter than I do normally. Although, as I said, I've tried to do that on the Marvel United recently, where I'm doing it a little brighter. Although I don't mind it. I really like to have their faces be a little bit brighter. That is my biggest pain in the rear end. But yeah, I've painted so many of the Stormcast Eternals. It's hilarious. This is the one that I picked of the three games that they sent us to feature right now. I really should have just done Blitz Bowl, because at least it would be something different. Although there's probably Stormcast Eternals in there, who knows? But because I did that first Warhammer Underworlds, I painted those twice, because I think I painted, I don't know if I actually finished Scott's, now I think about it. I better go check. I should have been close. I just, the funny thing for me with the pandemic is initially it didn't encourage me to continue to like get more into painting this stuff. And I wished I had thought about doing it. I mean, I thought about doing that, but I wished I had actually done that, because I could have actually made a lot of progress. But we got serious about the streaming. Plus, Nikki and I were doing the game night, date nights ourselves, which was a challenge. It's a lot of work for the two of us. And that took up a lot of our time. But we needed to do that because we ran out of episodes. Amazingly enough, we had filmed a bunch of stuff prior to the pandemic starting. And that was for a couple of reasons. And it just worked out for us, so we were able to have new episodes for, I think, through August or something like that. did not sand this. It could be a problem. So I use that Citadel model holder to do to prime my minis, which a lot of people dismiss it. I actually think it's pretty great, but the rubber bands are a problem. As far as I think the latex or something leaves residue on the edge of the mini, and I need to sand it to get it ready. But yeah, these are great. We need to film this. It'll be fun to do. It's not a real long game, and I would have fun actually getting into the Warhammer Quest system. We watched the latest episode of Bob's Burgers, and it was a Christmas episode, and it was Nikki's like, it's the right level of sappy. It was great. Gosh, these are huge bases. Well, sanding this, although it makes it a little rougher, has been the way to do it. I had just multi-coated painted it before. And it only did an okay job. But sanding it actually makes sure that paint sticks, because I think it's the latex on the Warcry. That's awesome. Well, you've been painting a lot of great stuff. Chad on here, Trashrama, has been playing the small version of that and converting his Warhammer Underworlds ones into to that. I would love to play Warcry. I don't have anything of Warcry, and I really don't have much of the kill team. I basically have that first go, and that is it. I would love to try to do some of that, but we do have the Lost Relics. We have the Blitz Bowl and Combat Arena or something like that. And I would like to, I have not bought your new game, Adam. I am actually disappointed in myself. I do want to get it. It looks fantastic. The art looks great. Nice job on all of that. But yeah, I need to get it. Let's see here. Well, there you go. Those are pretty good. So you want to let it dry for a while before you do. Oh, you know what? I didn't paint this one. This is from the previous work. Let me paint that. Look at this one, though. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's drying smooth. You definitely don't want to go over any part that you've previously painted if you can help it, because it just makes it a mess. Okay, well. I am hoping to, like, when we have the break, I mean, we won't be completely down during the between Christmas and New Year's, but because we're going to probably stream on New Year's Eve. Hey, there's a fingerprint. But I'm hoping to, like, well, first of all, actually play some games that we aren't having to film. That would be nice. But additionally, I'm hoping to just paint some more stuff and get on to really move on the Marvel United stuff. I want to get through all of that. I would like to try to get on to some of the GW stuff that I actually have purchased semi-recently. This actually looked like a pretty good paint job on the edge here. I don't know what I did. Obviously putting on that cracking earth paint. I made a mess or something. Oh, it's a black base. Maybe I didn't paint it. Sure looks like I did though. It's got like brush strokes and my fingerprint. I'm glad it's selling well. Rain in Hell was their previous one, Vincent Adams' previous release, and it's great too. There we go. Should varnish this stuff. I did organize my workspace here because I have the 3D printers out here, and so I got that put together. I actually want to put, funny thing is I have a little desktop here that I have my computer on next to me, and I want to put my FDM 3D printer out here. I need to actually see if it'll fit. Originally when I measured everything it was going to be great, but best laid plans, right? It's still not quite 12:30, so I got a little bit more time. Let's see. It is warming up a little bit, so it's not as cold as it was. I really have to let this dry for a little bit before I put on the contrast paint. I should actually try the new black that I have, contrast paint. I've used it, but I haven't used it like really. Let's see here if I have it. Oh, the gnome oil's up there? I put shades up here. Oh, you know what? That's right. I ended up putting all the shades in here. Black Legion. Yeah, I'm going to use the other one. I know and trust the other one. Again, I shouldn't do it yet anyway. Ooh, next year's game. That's awesome. Columbus. How far away is Columbus from you? I didn't know he actually lived in Columbus. We don't go to, well, he probably goes to, I should try to meet him at Gen Con. I only saw Adam briefly this year at Gen Con. Ended up being busy. We had Deborah around, so we were, you know, playing games with her, introducing her to people, including Adam. That was fun. I mean, you know, being with well, number one, it was our first con with Nikki and me together where we were not working the con. And so that was a treat because we generally are working. We didn't have booths. I don't think Nikki did any work, even though I think at that time she might have been helping a publisher out. But it was a real treat and really had a fun time. Hey man, having these racks here for the paints is the best. If I keep putting them back where they belong, I feel like I'm missing one in there. Oh, here we go. It's the black. That one will go up in a minute. Didn't want to drive to Chicago? Chicago. Flew so it was better. Oh, that's not, so 9.5 hours is pretty pretty rough, especially when this type of weather, right? I mean, it could be raining or it could be snow. I used to work up in the mountains near here, and we would actually have pretty heavy snow. And thankfully, I had experience, you know, because most Southern Californians don't. I had experience with driving in the snow, so it wasn't a big deal. Although my big goal, every time I used to drive a Volkswagen Bug, my big goal was to make it into town with snow on the car still. One time I went and it was like a foot of snow on the car. And I think I made it to the valley with some snow on, but it did not. I really wanted to be, you know, a foot of snow on, coming into town. But I think I would have needed to drive a lot slower and probably do it at night, but I did not do that. But that was fun. It was really fun, actually. I used to work for an architect up in the mountains, and we did work up there all the time. And so I would generally go up and then stay 2 nights with him and his family and do the work and then come back. So I would be in the office and get stuff done and then work on my stuff at home, which was great. Drove in and out of Chicago once, never again. The one that we did was New York. We drove, my brother and I, one year, oh goodness, this was so long ago, probably 88 or 89. So we were pretty young. And we were young and driving a van. My dad was working for this band, and he was actually helping tour manage them while, and Chris I think was involved, but it must have been the end of the run, or they were doing something else and he wasn't going to be, because my brother actually did live sound. And we drove, the van was rented in the DC area, and we went to Boston. I don't remember any of the stuff with those guys, although I do. Well, that might have been a different trip, because we were in Milwaukee one time, and it was funny. Well, anyway, let me finish the other story. So we were, we had to bring the car back from Boston to Washington, D.C., and we did it in one go. That one we actually skipped New York. We just, went on the interstate, turnpike or whatever. But we got real good at spotting. You would see the state troopers at the border. Hey, S. Herlock, thanks for the follow. You would see the state troopers at the border, so you knew what kind of cars you were looking for when you were going a little above the speed limit. And because we were trying to get there, we went really far. It was shocking. It wasn't that, I mean, the East Coast is not quite as gigantic as you think it is, although we were only going to DC, so it wasn't that far south. But we got in there, and it was a real fun trip. But we had to return the car for them. I don't know why. Maybe it was just who they rented it from, or the rental circumstances. I don't know. So, yeah, we drove that rental vehicle. I'm shocked that we did that. Oh, but another time we were in Milwaukee. So this was the same band, and one of the lead singers was like, "Hey, man," he sees these folks down on the corner. He's like, "Hey, where's the best barbecue?" And they all say, "Speed Queen." And then he's like, "How do you get there?" And they all pointed in different directions. It was the best. But it was actually really good barbecue. That was fun. Gosh darn, that was a long time ago. Let's see here. I guess I should swap to the other camera since I'm really kind of done. Well, I hope everybody had a great time, and I hope you'll get New York across the GW Bridge. Yeah, we drove in and out. It was not great. When we went to New York, Nikki and I in 2013. Wow, it'll be 10 years ago next month. It was a snowstorm was coming, and everybody was freaking out. And so the previous year they had a real serious blizzard, and so everybody was gun shy, and so we basically had New York to ourselves. Nikki had never been, and we did not drive. We took cabs and specifically tried to avoid it because I just knew that it wasn't worth it. It's lots of transportation in New York, and we walked a lot too, so it was pretty great. I'll be back, so we'll be back on Thursday. We're probably going to play the Infinity Game Table Risk. We'll see if we get it together. It has I mean, there's a bunch of DLC on it. They just released it, and so we want to. Well, we're going to try to do that. I actually need to play it on the system and see how it works. And hey, there's Nikki P. She says I'm the Bob Ross. I think really the Bob Ross is Adam. But anyway, we'll doing that and maybe some other standard games. We're going to try to play. We have some more holiday games that we'll do, and then I'll be back painting again. So we'll stream again on Tuesday, and then I'll paint again next Thursday, a week from Thursday. So I hope everybody has. Let's see here. Let's see who we can rate. Well, Rado runs through. Let's go. Let's go rate. I think we're early enough that Rado will. I think he is pausing to talk to the audience now, but it's not great because I'm never. The timing for the raids is never correct. But you should check it out with Rado. See what he's got doing, what he's got going on, and say hello to him for me. And everybody have a, just in time for my call to say see you later. Okay, take care. David, it's good to see you. Everybody, I hope you'll join us on the raid and have a great rest of your week. I'm going to start the raid. Hey, there's Ruel's on there too. Let's see how it goes. Thanks, everybody. I'm really glad you're all here. I'm so terrible at these raids. I think I'm going to do it. There we go. Hooray! Hey, it's test stream. Nice job. Did it go?